Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your home for gaming, tech, news, and reviews. In today's video, we are going over the whole Street Fighter V, I don't want to call it drama, the kerfuffle between Alex Myers and Punk. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, a little bit of backstory here. Since there are no physical tournaments to go to this year, the Capcom Pro Tour qualifiers have moved online. So the CPT qualifiers are a bunch of different online tournaments where the winners will advance to the official Capcom Pro Tour for a shot at a big chunk of cash. Considering Street Fighter V has some pretty terrible netcode, to put it lightly, this is introducing a lot of problems for a lot of pro players. A lot of pro players are now having to learn how to play the game differently to account for the poor connections and poor netcode of the game. As an example of just some of the things that pro players are thinking about when playing online, I will leave a link to this video in the description below, and I highly recommend checking it out. It's from Brian F., who is also a pro Street Fighter V player. The video is 7 minutes and 21 seconds long and gives you a really great insight into the mindset of a pro player during a match. And long story short, one of the biggest issues with Street Fighter V is the fact that you can introduce lag into a match simply by mashing buttons. Yes, pressing buttons in a game that's designed for you to press buttons can introduce lag online, and there are a lot of people who take advantage of this. Now let's talk about what happened between Alex Myers and Punk. Alex Myers had an incredible tournament. He played very well. He posted a tweet about how excited he was. He did finish in the top 8. Well, Punk was one of the players that Alex beat, and Punk wasn't too happy about losing. He didn't really accept it. Punk posted a tweet here, "You're here because of the lag." He responded to Alex, basically accusing Alex of intentionally causing lag within the match. Punk posted a tweet showing the replay between him and Alex and showing Alex's inputs. You can see that there is a lot of mashing going on here on Alex's side. Punk was extremely vocal about how he was feeling overall. He was live streaming the entire thing. He was not happy with Alex, he was not happy with the CPT, and he posted some not so nice things in the CPT Discord. Once Punk had some time to cool off after his loss, he did post an apology tweet and he addressed Alex directly. At the end of his tweet, he said, "I overreacted and I'm going to try to get better at being more professional moving forward." Alex Myers quoted Punk's tweet and said, "Thank you, Punk, for doing this publicly when you didn't have to. I understand what it's like to play under these conditions, so I know how frustrating it can be. I've always respected you as a player, so this apology means a lot and you still have my respect." 2 days later on Twitter, Capcom made an official statement. They said on August 15th, during the North America West 1 qualifier, Alex Myers defeated Victor Punk Woodley. At the conclusion of the match, Punk engaged in unsportsmanlike conduct against the tournament organizer Alex Valle on Discord and player Alex Myers on Twitter. This was a clear violation of the CPT Code of Conduct. Under normal circumstances, such behavior would result in a suspension from multiple premieres. However, given the limited number of qualifying events this season, such a ban has excessive consequences. Capcom has therefore ruled that, should he choose to participate, Punk will automatically start in the losers bracket in the North America West 2 qualifier in November 2020. We recognize that this has been a frustrating year, but threats and insults amongst our top players cannot be tolerated. We hope that this ruling closes the issue and that all parties can move on from the incident. This announcement came as a bit of a surprise. A lot of people, myself included, thought the hatchet might have been buried with Punk's previous apologies to multiple people, but apparently the apologies weren't enough and that he crossed the line maybe a little bit too far. Capcom obviously wasn't happy with his actions and is giving him a major disadvantage in the next tournament. A lot of pro players, possibly Alex included, were surprised with the level of punishment from Capcom and possibly thinking that Capcom might have went too far. Now, Carolyn, who is a prominent figure in the fighting game community, works for Capcom and also happens to be Alex's girlfriend, got the finger pointed at her by a number of people accusing her of making this decision. She was very transparent here and said she had nothing to do with it, and for what it's worth, I believe her. Now, Panda Global, who sponsors Punk, looked at the situation and agreed with both sides. They agreed with CPT's ban, and they also agreed with Punk's apology, so they will be adding no additional discipline to Punk. Now, players in the fighting game community do get heated from time to time. It is no secret at all. And a lot of the fighting game players say back in the arcade days, trash talk was a part of the FGC. And they're saying now that the FGC is getting soft. I might want to add here, with esports, with the introduction of esports, players are expected to hold themselves to a higher level of accountability and professionalism. If you think about professional athletes for almost any other sport, they usually get fined when they say inappropriate comments, especially to the cameras in the heat of the moment. Overall, I don't think Alex intentionally cheated by mashing buttons in order to introduce lag to get an advantage over his opponent. And even if he did, he shouldn't be blamed for it. Street Fighter V is a game designed to press buttons. It's a game designed to almost mash buttons. There are a lot of pros who do mash buttons. There are a lot of non-pros who do mash buttons. And if mashing buttons causes lag, that's a game problem. That's not a player problem. There's no way to police that. And it doesn't even make sense for getting angry at someone for mashing buttons. A lot of players do it. Not necessarily to introduce lag, but it's a high pressure situation and you're just trying to get a move out. You know, you're pressing buttons, wiggling the joystick. It just happens. And I don't think you should be punished for doing that. Now, in regards to Punk's punishment, I think it was harsh, but also justified. And hear me out for a moment if you immediately go on the defensive. First and foremost, this is not the arcades. This is not the arcades back in the day. This is not the FGC back in the day. This isn't sitting on the couch beside your buddy, trash talking them during a match. This is professional esports with a lot of visibility, a lot of companies involved, and a lot of money on the line. This is not a casual setting. This is a professional setting. And a lot of people seem to forget that or just not know that. You can't necessarily get away with saying something without any sort of repercussions. And this is where we're at right now. A lot of people in the fighting game community are upset about the esports aspect of it, and I can understand it because there is a level of professionalism. And when you're a professional on the scene, you're expected to act professionally. I hope other pros see this and learn from this so it doesn't happen to them. It does look like Punk and Alex made up, the hatchet has been buried, and they just want to move on. I wish Punk the best of luck in the next version of the CPT, because he's going to need it. He is an incredibly talented Street Fighter player, and I actually feel sorry who has to play him in the first round in the losers bracket. But anyways, that is all I've got for today. Let me know what you think of this situation in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.